What's up, lords and lasses? This is Ben Eller, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about my very new, very special guitar. I just finished putting this thing together recently, and I've had a lot of questions about it, so I thought I would do a video talking about all the specifics, as well as give you guys some tips and tricks if you want to build your own beast, as well as maybe solve some mysteries about what Ibanez used on these crazy fluorescent colors. So I'll reveal some of that stuff as we go along too. The idea for this guitar started a really long time ago, right after I started playing guitar. When I was about 16, I started playing guitar and I started taking lessons from a place in Morristown, Tennessee called Lloyd's Music from a really great teacher named Benjamin Franklin, who was awesome. But as soon as I started playing guitar, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, so I would always have my mom or my dad drop me off for lessons like half an hour early. That way I could check out all the cool guitars in the shop. Lloyd's was an Ibanez dealer, they still are, so they had all the stuff that I wanted to see, you know. I went in there for lessons one day and somebody was selling a used RG550, you know, which is a 6-string classic RG maple fretboard, pretty much just like this, but it's a 6-string guitar. And I thought it was so cool. It was the Roquefort red color, which just blew my mind. And I picked it up and I played it, and I couldn't believe how comfortable it was to play. Shredded effortlessly. It was just completely sick. But because I was stupid at the time and didn't really know anything about buying a guitar, I was kind of scared off by the fact that it was used. It had some little nicks and dings on it. Had some wear on the fretboard and all that stuff, so I just figured that mean it had been, you know, worn out or something, so I didn't buy it even though it was only like $350 or $400 or something like that. So it's always kind of been the one that got away in the back of my head. So I knew one day I wanted to have one. But then not long after that is when I started playing 7-string guitars, right? So then the dream became not just to have an RG550 in Roquefort Red, but to have an RG550 in Roquefort Red as a 7-string. And Ibanez has never made anything even close to that, so I knew I would have to kind of start building up my own. So then I started trying to gather up ideas as for how I could do it. Along the way of planning the guitar out, I decided to make a few changes to the original 550 design just to suit my own taste. The original 550 had a humbucker in the bridge, a single coil in the middle, and a humbucker in the neck. I just decided to go with the 2 humbucker configuration. That suits me a little bit better. I don't really use middle single coils that much, so I cut that out. I also wanted an all-access neck joint with a rounded neck heel like this. I like that a little bit better than the square heel that the old 550s had. I like the square heel fine too, but I like the all-access just a little bit better, so I wanted a body that had that too. So after I had those things in mind, I started planning out how I was going to make it happen. I started off by buying a bone stock RG7620, which is just kind of the standard model RG7 string with a low pro edge tremolo. I bought one of those from a guy I'd done a swirl for a couple of years ago. And I knew that would be kind of my template. It had a basswood body like I wanted, routed for 2 humbuckers like I wanted, all access neck joint, low pro edge tremolo, all that jazz. All that was wrong was the color and the neck. So I decided to get to work on working on those things. So the original neck that came on the RG7620 that I bought was just a regular maple back with a rosewood fretboard, which is great, but it's not what came on a 550, so I knew I had to do something about that. I found a guy named Bauer through the old Harmony Central user forums who said he could build me a neck. And so I sold the original neck, got rid of it, and had Eric make this for me. He did an absolutely ridiculous job. I cannot stress to you enough how incredible this neck is. It's all completely handmade out of quarter-sawn maple. There's no CNC involved. Eric is just ridiculously good at what he does, man. All quarter-sawn maple. Black dots, black side dots up here on the top. And the fretwork is all immaculate too. The action is ridiculously low and it sounds fantastic. Eric also did a fret job and a fret level on that blue and orange swirled RG7 that I have, and just did a superb job on it too. So the guy really, really knows what he's doing. If you're wanting to make an RG kind of clone guitar, definitely hit him up at Bauercustomguitar at gmail.com. Drop him an email, tell him I sent you, and you guys can hook up some quotes and rates and all that kind of thing. Can't recommend him enough. He does amazing work. He makes necks and bodies too. I'm probably going to have him make me a couple of bodies here before too long so I can critique the quality on those as well. But if it's anything like the neck, I'm sure that it's absolutely perfect. So I got the neck and I was blown away, and that kind of got me really excited to work on the next part of the project, which was finding the paint for the body. If you've ever tried to find any information about what Ibanez used on all those classic neon colors like Roquefort Red or Loch Ness Green or Desert Sun Yellow or any of those, you'll know that it's next to impossible to find any information about what they actually used on those guitars. I've seen a lot of people get pretty close, you know, with recreating Road Flare Red, but it's always been either a little too orange or a little too pink or a little too red. It's a really unique color, and if you've ever seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very hard to put your finger on, but once you see it, you know what it looks like. So I was going all over the internet trying to find any information about some neon or fluorescent paints that I could use. I was checking out stuff that they used to paint road signs with. I was checking out stuff that they used to do like marking on concrete and stuff with. And I found a couple of things that were close, but just not exactly right. I was starting to run out of hope. And then just totally, it's kind of a fluke, I stumbled across something that was the real kind of eureka moment of this whole project. I'd heard the term day glow before, used to describe neon or fluorescent colors. I always thought that day glow was just another way of saying neon. You know, so if you say, oh, it's day glow green, it just means it's neon green. Actually, day glow is a brand name. Day glow is an American paint company that's been around, I think, since the 70s or something like that. And I just always assumed that was a term. I didn't know it was a brand. I guess it's kind of like how we call every adhesive bandage a Band-Aid, you know? It's kind of like that. So I found this company's website and I got to looking at their color charts and I was pretty well blown away. I requested a color chart from the Dayglow company, and what showed up in the mail pretty well blew my mind. Because if you look at this chart, you'll see it's basically all of the classic Ibanez colors that they did. You've got this signal green right here, which looks dead on just like Loch Ness Green. This Saturn yellow, which looks like Desert Sun yellow. This Blaze orange looks a lot like that carotene orange they used to do back in the day. Aurora pink, which looks like shocking pink that they used on the gyms. And the Holy Grail, Rocket Red, which looks identical to Road Flare Red. If this isn't what they actually used, it is so dead on that it is startling. It is exactly the same color. So if you're trying to recreate Road Flare Red, go to Dayglow, buy some Rocket Red paint from them. It's shade number 13. That is exactly what you need. I know a lot of people who have Road Flare Red 550s, and they've looked at this guitar and said, it is dead on, it's exactly right. So, I think I might have solved a little bit of a mystery here. So if you're looking to paint your project a classic Ibanez color like Road Flare Red, hit up Dayglow for all your needs. So in order to get them to really, really glow like they're supposed to, you'll want to paint your project white first. Myself and my paint guy, Joe, who does a lot of the clear coats on my swirls and just does a phenomenal job on those. He's been doing nothing but paint and clear for like 25 years or something, so his work obviously is just immaculate. But anyway, we primed the guitar bright white first, and then he took care of the painting process and layered the Road Flare Red, or Rocket Red as Dayglow calls it, on top of that. That way you can still slightly see the white through it, which just makes the whole thing shine and really pop. And of course it's not a 550 without a pickguard, so I ordered this pickguard from Perle off of eBay. And he did a really good job. Fit great, looks exactly like what I wanted, 3-ply black, white, black. No problem, easy to install, fit the guitar really well. And wasn't too expensive either. I think the guard was only maybe 35 bucks or something like that. So yeah, Perle does a good job. So I had my sick custom neck, I had my awesome perfect paint job, and my pickguard and stuff. So now I knew I wanted the guitar to sound every bit as sick as it looked. So I went with Dimarzio pickups, my weapon of choice. A couple of years ago while I was playing with my old band Arc, I got endorsed by Dimarzio, and I started working with Steve Blucher on developing a custom bridge pickup exactly to my specifications. And we ended up with this guy here in the bridge, which is called the Polymath. That's what we ended up kind of calling it. And it was built totally to my specs. We went through a couple of different prototypes before we landed on this final design, and it's mind-blowing. It's the best sounding 7-string pickup I've ever heard in my life. It's perfect. I love it. I've had a lot of people hit me up and ask if they can get one from Dimarzio, if they could hit them up and request a Polymath or anything like that. And they don't do custom orders, and they're not planning on making it into production, but there's a catch. I talked to Steve Blucher about this, and this is what he told me. Apparently when Tosin Abasi of the band Animals and Leaders hit Dimarzio up about making a 7-string version of his signature ionizer pickup, he hit up Steve and he had a list request of what he wanted out of a 7-string pickup. They went through a couple of different prototypes and everything until they landed on the final Ionizer 7 design. According to Steve Blucher, which he would know, he's the man who's like made Steve Vai and Joe Satriani's pickups and all these guys, and John Petrucci, all of my idols, you know, so he would know. But What Steve said is that the design that they ended up with is completely identical to what I have here in the Polymath. He said if I had the exact same pickup in the same guitar, if I had an ionizer in it and my Polymath in it, nobody would be able to tell the difference. So if you want a Polymath, go buy an Ionizer 7, because apparently me and Tosin have the exact same taste in what it takes to come up with a good bridge pickup. And as for the neck pickup, this is just a plain Jane Dimarzio Air Norton 7. One of the oldest neck pickups that they make. It's one of the best sounding ones too. I really like the Air Norton a lot. It's got just what I want in a neck pickup. It's warm, but it's not super muddy. Yeah, it's got good clarity to it, good note separation, good articulation on the strings. Just a great sounding neck pickup and a great match for the Polymath. One thing I like to do to pretty much all of my guitars is install a Dimarzio multi-pole switch. A lot of people call this a super switch. And if your pickups have 5 wires coming off of them, 4 wires and a ground, and you have a super switch, you can do about 1 million different wiring options, and they're amazing. I have this exact switch on pretty much all of my guitars, and the wiring options you can get here are crazy. Here's a quick breakdown of how I usually wire mine up. That's what I've got on here as my usual wiring scheme. Okay, first position here is the bridge in series, which gives me just a very full, it's a normal bridge pickup sound. Huge and thick and all that jazz. Now if I switch it over to the next selection, it's the bridge pickup again, but in parallel. If it's in parallel, that means it cuts some of the output and cuts some of the bass, and it sounds like it really increases that pick attack too. Kind of thins it out a little bit. Let's compare again real quick. Here's series, here's parallel. Just a little bit snappier. One of my favorite tricks is to record a rhythm guitar track with the pickup in series, and then record a second track beneath it in parallel, just for that really snappy pick attack. Makes a rhythm track really stand out. In the neck, I've got the same stuff. If I'm in the last position, it's the neck in series, warm and fat. Fourth position is neck in parallel. So it's a little bit lower output, a little snappier sounding. But then in the middle position is kind of the wild card. Typically middle position is where you got both humbuckers on, but I never really use that myself. I've never really liked both humbuckers on. So in the middle position, this is wired to where it's the outer coil of the bridge pickup and the outer coil of the neck pickup. So this half of the bridge, this half of the neck, in parallel with each other. Which gives you this really gross, like Telecaster-like snarl. Which again is great for all kinds of layering and stuff like that, as well as just fake Telecaster impressions. Really cool switch. I recommend everybody mess with that. One of the most frequently asked questions I get about the custom painted guitars that I've done, whether it be the Swirls or this one, is how do I not paint over the logo on the headstock, which is always kind of a funny question. This is a vinyl decal, okay? So you paint it, you lay down a layer of clear coat, and then you have a vinyl decal on top of it, and you put clear coat on top of that. On the old 550, some of the really old ones, the headstock was painted a color and clear coated, and then they would paint the Ibanez logo on if the color like black or gray or silver. I didn't go with that. I just went with the vinyl decal here, so it's underneath the clear coat and protected, and it looks cool. The tuners are nothing special. It's just the regular stock Goto tuners that usually come on an Ibanez neck. But just because they're stock doesn't mean that they're not good. I've never had any problems out of the Goto stuff. They're durable, they hold tune really well. What's to complain about? So yeah, just regular Goto tuners on the headstock. Another cool little thing I installed on this guitar is a tremolo. I really dig this device a lot right here. Basically what it does is it lets you go from having a fully movable, here I'll unlock it here, a fully mobile Floyd Rose setup where you can, use the bar and move the entire bridge. And then if you want to, say, change tunings or something like that, usually with the Floyd Rose that takes like 10 minutes. With the tremolo, you can just lock it down using the little thumb screws here, and now the bridge can't move at all, and it behaves exactly like a fixed bridge guitar. So I can do a lesson or a recording or whatever in a different tuning, and then tune it back to standard, unlock the little bridge thumb screws here, and you'd be back to regular, fully floating Floyd Rose goodness. Really cool little gadget. I think they'll set you back about 55 or 60 bucks. Totally worth it. So there you go, that's everything you need to know about my RG7620 550 Mutant hybrid thing here. Guitar of my dreams. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's literally a dream come true for me, so thank you so much to everybody who made it possible. Eric Bauer for building this phenomenal neck. Don't forget to hit him up for all of your Ibanez neck and body needs. He does other stuff too. He builds like Gibson clones and all this stuff. Unbelievable work. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much to my paint guy, Joe Haynes, for doing this ridiculous paint and clear coat job. Absolutely nailed it. It couldn't have been more perfect. Joe does phenomenal work. I can't say that enough. Amazing stuff. Thank you to Dimarzio for the ridiculously awesome pickups. Nate Perle for the great pickguard. Everybody involved. Thank you to Ben Gibson for making this video for me. Say hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for a lot of clips and videos and stuff like that recorded with my Kemper profiler and good recording setup so you can hear this beast in action. Thanks again so much. I hope that answers any questions you guys had. And yeah, cheers. Thanks for watching.